Primary libraries can be a great asset in a school, but many inspection reports note it as an undeveloped resource. Even when investment has been made, after an initial surge of interest, libraries can fall off a school's list of priorities.
We're called in a lot to set up primary school libraries, so we've done that. We've helped them sort out the books, set up the library, buy the furniture, even do the decorations, interior decoration, all sorts of things. And I've been in this job long enough to be called back 10 years later to find the library a tip, and it saddens me. It feels like the school's wasting their money.
So how can you best manage and sustain this powerful tool? In this programme we are focusing on Ben Jonson Primary School in Tower Hamlets, London, to see what systems they have put in place to keep the library in use long term.
Phil Jarrett, in his report on good school libraries published last year, said there were two significant factors in good school libraries. One was the effective leadership, the leadership of an effective head teacher, and the second one was the quality of the staff running that library.
Having a library as a standalone is really important for us. You have to start very small and sort of build up. So we've been looking at all the different resources. We've tried to break down exactly where the focus is year on year so that we can build the whole approach. We've had to look at boys reading because that's obviously an issue. We've had to look at how children's first language is acknowledged. We have to re-evaluate the resources for that.
Ben Jonson have used the introduction of workforce remodelling to think hard about the requirements of the library and how it can be staffed.
We realised that actually if you have a library and you want it to survive, you want it to be kept as a library, you have to have somebody to be responsible for it.
My name is Shahinara. I've been here nearly 7 years, and right now I'm a resource management and the librarian as well.
The implications of the workforce reform meant that it was an opportunity to look at the staffing needs of the school. So we've trained somebody to be in charge of the library. She's taken to it very well and actually sort of started to really get involved and get excited about the role and seeing where she needs to go next. So it's helped her professional development particularly.
They have also taken advantage of an initiative from the local school's library service that supplies qualified librarians to the school.
A half a day a week librarian, term time only, costs around about £3,500 to £4,000 a year, which in terms of the cost of even supply teachers is not that great.
I'm Richard Frost, I'm a librarian at the Tower Hamlets School's library service, but for 4.5 hours a week I come to Ben Jonson Primary School. When I first came to the school, Shahinara had been given responsibility for the library, but really had very limited library experience. So part of my role is to really train Shahinara.
We did loads of book sorting and updating the computer library because our one was really backdated. So we updated that and we started sorting through the books as well. But gradually, as time's progressed, we've sort of moved on, and Shahinara now does things like book buying, and so she does all her library displays. So it's just really sort of keeping in touch with Shahinara so that when I'm in on the Friday... Morning, Shahinara. Morning. How's things? I can give her all the advice she needs for the rest of the week.
One of Richard and Shahinara's jobs on a Friday morning is to discuss stock.
When I first came here, there's lots of books on the shelves, but most of them were from the 1970s and 1980s, really. What do you think?
Well, it's a very old one, and I doubt our kids can want to read this.
We recommend that all libraries should really sort of have a thorough weeding policy and that it be done at least sort of once a year. We have a weeding criteria which is for most non-fiction books they should not be more than 10 years old, so effectively nothing more than the age of the children in the school, really.
No, I don't think most of our kids will like this one at all.
It's just a bit damaged, really. I mean, it's an OK series, but, you know, if we're going to have quality library, I want quality books. One to go, so got rid of quite a lot, but at least we know what's staying is good. It was a case of weeding all that out and being able to have the resources and the funds to go out and buy some more.
Richard is also leading the teaching of information literacy.
Instead of, putting in £2,000 a year just on resources and not guiding people about how to use them, we've got more focused about it and more structured about it.
So can you remember some of the things that we've done so far? So what did we do on the first week? Can anybody remember?
We're looking at public libraries and how on it.
Fantastic. OK, this group here. Somebody pick up.
Tower Hamlets Schools Library Service and Ben Johnson are putting together a scheme of work to teach information literacy skills in the library.
I think it's because you helped answer the questions.
It will extend across the curriculum with the aim of providing a sensible progression.
Now I think you've got onto the level where you don't really need the colour so much, you're more focusing on the numbers.
Children struggle to make effective use of information, and again that is where a librarian can assist the teaching staff to develop information literacy amongst the pupils, so they're able to make best use of their libraries.
When looking back at the sets, where our weakness was reading for information, and as you see, right, Richard's kind of really sparked their imagination and really sparked their interest in information books, and they all take information books out now. Talk to Richard and say, well, have you got a book on? Something really obscure, and he sort of goes off and gets it and says, let's have a look here, and what about this one and this one?
Does anybody know what a Venus flytrap does?
It's a plant which only eats flies, not humans. If you put your hand next to it, it won't bite you. It only bites flies. In the early days, cars didn't have roof, and because of the dusty road, the people had to wear goggles to keep the dust out of their eyes.
Thank you, that was superb. Thank you very much. Quite a few of you are going to stay for the reading adventure again today? Yeah, OK. We do a lunchtime reading adventure, which has just started, and the children are quite enthusiastic about that. We've got a lot of new joiners through that. I keep hold of this, and then when you bring this back next time, I'll give you a special sticker to say that you've read that book. And the idea is you have to fill up the whole of this sheet. OK?
To earn the stickers and complete the sheets, children must read books from a number of different genres.
A lot of the children I used to teach them when they were younger, and then as they grew older, a lot of the children used to always read the same sort of books. But now the children actually come in, and Richard actually works with them.
What one? You want the Vendetta one? It's a good book. Yeah. OK. What that does, this is a sports story, so I'm going to count it as your sports book. OK? There's your first time. Yeah, then choose book.
There are also special events in the library throughout the year.
OK, thank you. There you go. Last year we had Storyteller coming down, which was a very well-received event. She worked with a few classes individually and also the whole of Key Stage 1, so it was really good assembly and feedback.
Children now listen to what they're being read and have that as a sort of theme all the way through, and take some of that for their own work, and are being told that it's all right to take ideas from other people and find exciting words that other people have used and share those, and then come up with expressions in their own writing. And that whole thing about I am an author for every child really brings all this together.
Last year we also worked with 2 neighbouring schools on shadowing the Greenaway books. So all of the children from neighbouring schools came to here, and so it was a really good opportunity for the children here to interact with neighbouring schools, and it was a fun event, and I think the children got a lot out of that.
From a teacher's point of view, we get really mixed up in and carried away with all the SATs, and we kind of forget sometimes that actually books are fantastic, and if you give them time in the classroom to read, they actually read and get quite excited about it. And I noticed that the levels of reading went up quite a lot because the children were reading for enjoyment.
Well, I have Year 6 children. We actually train them because it's their library and they have to take responsibility for it.
Do you remember your number?
Yeah, that's you.
What was the other button? The enter button.
I've been training them how to sort the books out, and if there's a book damage, how to take it out of the library system, from picture books to fiction and non-fiction. They sort through, put it back in order and put everything back in the right places. I find it more helpful because then the children actually understand that this is their library and they have to take charge and make sure that it's tidy and the other children can use it as well.
Ben Johnson also used the library system to track other resources.
A lot of CD-ROMs are actually in our computer system as well now, because before, every time they went out, we never got them back. So this time around, we actually put them in our system. And if a class teacher wanted to take those, they had to scan it through their name. Each class teacher and the TAs were allowed to take certain amounts of books. So if they needed a book, they know how to take it. And I've actually managed to train some of the TAs how to use the library system as well. I've talked to all the teachers and we've got a timetable, so who can come what time, and change books and use the library as well.
We really need to continue having sort of communication with the staff and the head teacher, just to make sure that the libraries continue to be put at the forefront of the school, because so often it can just slip, and you know, the library is just a part of the school that teachers and the children don't go to, because it really needs to be teacher-led. If the teachers are enthusiastic about the library, then the children will be too.
Lots of things, and they looked at things like the muscles, and they looked at the heart and the skull.
Making sure that the library has prominent displays, and that's where Shayanara really comes into it, because she knows the children, she knows every child in this school, and even though they might not know me, they'll know her, and so she can really push the events and talk to the children individually.
We actually talk to parents, so a lot of the parents will come in, especially new parents who are not used to this area, and I've been here for all my life, this area, and they will ask, like, where can they go to take their children to study more, and every holiday before they go, we actually tell the children just to go to the local libraries and read more.
The model is there for how you treat books, and children are very much more respectful of books and excited about books and enthusiastic about it, and they can talk about their favourite authors, and they know what books can do a lot more.
We've got the Emerald class coming in at 11, currently writing a new library action plan, and in it sort of giving Shayanara sort of more responsibility and being able to take on a lot more of the library duties.
Ben Johnson's experience suggests there are a number of key elements to consider to keep a library running effectively. To help it flourish, it'll need effective leadership and dedicated staff, whether or not there's access to a qualified librarian. Involving the children in the library can mean help with workload, with the added benefit of giving them a real sense of ownership and pride. Making sure resources are undamaged and up to date can really help keep things on track. And it's worth thinking about using the library as a focus for teaching information literacy, developing children's skills from year to year across the curriculum. Infusing the teaching staff is always going to pay dividends. Getting access to the library right is also clearly important. Who will use the library and when? And of course, regular events can be really helpful, as well as a focus for reading for pleasure.